This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLesio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, hope the holiday season and family time is treating you well. Kids, of course, starting to come home from college. Our kid at heart, Kenny Bergamy, is on assignment this week. Nonetheless, still got a great show planned for you. Coming up at a time when the dairy industry is experiencing its share of ups and downs, this Newton County operation is solid as a rock. Why the owner of Rock House Creamery feels small and simple has been key to their success. For this Washington County beef cattle producer, sustainability also means transparency and accessibility. Hear what happened when he opened up his farm to complete strangers. Plus, in the second and final part of our conversation with outgoing ABAC President David Bridges, Dr. Bridges opens up about his time at ABAC and what his final day in office may look like. These stories and so much more start right now on the Farm Monitor. Well, over the past decade, nearly 20,000 licensed dairy farms across the U.S. have been forced to shut down due to low commodity prices. Additionally, that roughly 30% decline has also resulted in smaller farms rethinking their business strategy. Damon Jones brings us the story of one farmer who vertically integrated his operation by producing award-winning dairy products.
What started off as just a dairy farm in 1940 has now grown into this state-of-the-art creamery that uses all the milk they produce daily to create these delicious products. It's a list that is sure to satisfy any dairy lover's needs.
Today we bottle milk, whole milk, we bottle buttermilk, we bottle chocolate milk, which we have an award-winning chocolate milk that won the Flavor of Georgia contest in 2018. We make a number of hard cheeses, we make curds, we make a number of goat cheeses here, and then we make about 7 or 8 flavors of ice cream.
Despite the extremely high demand for their products, Rock House Farm and Creamery has made a conscious effort to remain a smaller operation in order to maintain the highest quality control.
We haven't expanded into, a major production facility, so we're limited with the number of cattle we have, which we're milking probably about 60 cows right now, and we're converting all of that into finished product. Because we're doing this in small batches, we can really manage the production to a really high quality standard.
As the old saying goes, you get what you put into it. And Rock House Farm has really taken that to heart by producing the highest quality raw milk possible.
There's a lot of differences here. So our animals are on grass every day, our cattle are. They're foraging on grass. We do supplementally feed them with silage and a little bit of feed. But that grass flavor does give the milk a richness to it.
Like many other smaller dairy operations, the margins are razor thin, especially with the low price producers have been receiving for their milk over the past decade. It's the main reason for all the expansion that has taken place at this creamery since 2016.
Traditionally, and today too, farming in general, and dairy is no different than that, there's tight margins. So we looked at it and realized you can't just milk 60 cows or 160 cows or 260 cows today and make a living at it. Not really. You have to vertically integrate. And so that's what this whole model is about here, is taking, raising their own calves all the way to what we call milkers. So they've been, the heifers older than this, of course, are bred, they calve, they go into milk production, all the way to bottling and selling it. I think it is a way forward for small dairies in the state to maybe make it by doing that further processing.
In spite of the tight margins, long hours, and demanding schedule, it really is a labor of love for the dairyman.
Dairying's a hard life. No way around it. It's hard from a lot of aspects, but it's 365 days a year, so there is no taking off. It's twice a day to 3 times a day, depending on how often a person milks. And you can be sick, you can be whatever, but you're going to milk those cows. So you have to love it. I mean, if a person doesn't love the life itself, they better pick a different occupation.
Reporting from Newton County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, contrary to popular belief, sustainability is a word those in agriculture take very seriously because, let's face it, without it, farming wouldn't even exist. That's certainly the case in the beef industry as producers work towards being as sustainable as possible in order to keep the farm alive for future generations. John Holcomb with more on that from Washington County.
In the past few years, the word sustainability has been used a lot as people push for a more environmentally friendly world. For the cattle industry, however, sustainability is nothing new. In fact, it's something cattle producers have been practicing since cattle farming was started as they work to make the land better than how they found it to be able to keep farming it for years to come.
A lot of people set out to run a farm in what I consider a sustainable way. They want the farm to last. They want it to be something they pass on to their children later in life. They want it to be productive at the same time. We even lean a step further into what we and people have started to call regenerative agriculture, and where we're improving the land and we're building really good topsoil, and we leave behind a more productive farm for our kids than what we started with.
Kramer believes the way to do that is by being a good steward of the land, which for him means not overgrazing cattle on a piece of land until it damages it.
If you're overusing the land, you're going to see it in 3 years. That's not going to last very long. You're going to have weed infestation. Your cattle are going to start to get skinny and die. It's just not sustainable. Most farmers don't strive for that.
In today's society, more and more people are starting to pay attention to where their food comes from and how it's raised, which Kramer says is all the more reason to strive for sustainability on the farm.
We're already seeing that people are becoming a lot more interested in where their food comes from. And I get a ton of farm visits from even as far as Atlanta, which is 2.5 hours away. And they bring their whole family, and we walk them around out here. We let them see the chickens and how the chickens are raised, and they see the beef and how the beef is moved around. And in the beginning, we thought that might be a negative thing, that once they develop a sense of what's happening on a farm, then they become vegetarians even. But it's doing the opposite in our opinion. They appreciate that the animals live a really nice life, and they appreciate the effort we put into doing all this. So I think the public is already educating themselves on all this, and they're developing their own opinions of what they see.
For Kramer and producers all over the country, working towards sustainable farming operations isn't going to happen overnight. It comes with new research and technology and being willing to adapt if something doesn't work out.
It's one of those things that my wife put best. If you'll get out there and do something, you'll learn if it works or not, or what works best with it versus others, and you can modify it. You don't have to stick to it.
Reporting in Washington County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Up next, it's part 2 of our conversation with outgoing ABAC President Dr. David Bridges. Our focus this week, his longevity at the college and where his deep passion for agriculture comes from. Last week, we showed you part 1 of our conversation with soon-to-be retired ABAC President Dr. David Bridges. This week, in part 2 of our interview, Dr. Bridges discusses his longevity at ABAC and what his final days at the college may look like, or at least what he hopes they may look like. 16 years as the president, longest serving tenure of all the 26 Georgia institutions. I am sure, I would pretty much bet my next paycheck on it, that over the years you have had people come up to you, David, why don't you come work for us? But yet you stayed. Yes. What kept you coming back?
Well, I love the institution. My heart's here. I started here. I got 2 degrees at Auburn and 1 degree at Texas A&M, and I spent 20 years at UGA. So I got lots of places that I can have loyalties, but my real loyalty is like lie right here. I mean, they're at ABAC. Number two, I don't, not to brag, but I think I've been a pretty good fit for the institution. I'm an agriculturalist, a rural guy, and that's who we are. And so I think I've been a good fit. And yes, I've had other opportunities, and just decided that this one was the one I would continue to do.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's so impressive about you is, yes, you have done so much for ABAC, but you've also done so much for Georgia agriculture in general. Where does that passion for the industry come from?
Well, it is the number one industry in the state. I've often said, and I still believe this is true, I find it harder these days to sell it with the demographic shifts that have occurred in the state. But I've always said that as goes agriculture in the state of Georgia, there goes the state. There's no doubt about it that the metro Atlanta area drives much of the economy of the state, the commercial economy. But still, the fact is agriculture is the number one business in the state. You know, I heard Tom McCall, this is interesting, now Georgia Farm Bureau president, say a long time ago, he made a presentation, and he says this wasn't original to him, but it's certainly not original to me. He said there are 5 things required for life. I don't know if you've heard this, but food, clothing, and shelter, air, and water. And Tom's statement was God gives you 2 and the farmer gives you the other 3. And so I just think somebody has to stand up for agriculture, forestry, and rural communities. And when we lose them, it's going to be a sad day.
So now the toughest question of all, the final and toughest question. That day comes, you open that notebook, you put that piece of paper in there, you put that pen down for the last time, you close that notebook, you walk over to that light switch, you hit that light switch, you close that door behind you to your office. Have you thought about that moment?
Not really. Thinking about what you just said, my office has an automatic light switch, so I don't have to turn the lights off. And my door has never been closed and locked. In fact, it drives lots of people crazy that I don't lock my office. Now the suite gets locked, but I don't lock my office. I said, why don't you lock your office? I said, there is nothing in my office that anybody wants. Anything that would, create consternation for the institution or myself or get somebody fired or sent to prison or whatever, it ain't in my office anyway.
I've seen some pretty cool memorabilia in there, though.
Oh, there's some cool memorabilia in there, but if you want it, take it. I mean, an ideal scenario, and probably the odds of this happening are not very good, but it could happen, is that the system finds the next president, interviews the president, and at some point I have the opportunity to shake the person's hand and figuratively or literally hand them the keys and say, welcome to ABAC, it's yours, I'll stay out of your way. See ya.
Well, I know I'm not going to be the first to shake your hand or the last, but I still want to shake your hand.
It's been fun.
Thank you for all you've done for ABAC. Thank you for all you've done for Georgia agriculture in general, and for us here at the Farm Monitor as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for Georgia Farm Bureau's support of ABAC and our mission, and we do share a lot of common interest and goals, and I hope that will continue on for many years to come.
Best of luck to you, Dr. Bridges. You are the best. After the break, how this former mayor of Villa Rica, Georgia, gave up life as a retiree and is now giving back to help educate the younger generations about the gift that keeps on giving. That, of course, being agriculture.
In 2019, USDA's Agricultural Research Service formed the Partnerships for Data Innovation. a collaboration between technology leaders, academia, and USDA. Focused on addressing the biggest challenges facing the agriculture community. Challenges like feeding an additional 2 billion people by 2050.
The Partnerships for Data Innovations is really focused on serving the research community, especially our ARS research community and their collaborators, by developing tools that help them capture and process and automate and serve and integrate data sets so that they can spend more time doing their analysis.
Everything within PDI is moving rapidly. I mean, we're moving at a pace that even some of our industry partners just can't believe that we're moving at the pace that we are.
One PDI team worked alongside the Kraft Foundation, an organization founded to bring together expert researchers from the Florida citrus industry and Florida citrus growers to test and share management practices that minimize the devastating effects of citrus greening.
The U.S. citrus industry is a $3.35 billion industry, and we're facing an existential crisis in the form of a bacterial disease called citrus greening. It's a tree-killing disease.
This PDI team was recognized for creating an online grower application system, a document that used to be 15 pages long, an application dashboard for expeditious review and approval of applications, an online data portal user guide capable of dynamic updates as information rapidly changes, a grower survey where crop management practices can be shared in a standardized way, a UAV-collected data interface, and a grower's dashboard to monitor trends and issues proactively.
On behalf of Esri, we are pleased to present the Special Achievement in GIS, or SAG Award, to the Kraft Foundation and the USDA ARS Partnerships for Data Innovations team for their grower-based work on citrus greening in Florida. The SAG Award is given to recognize outstanding work with GIS technology. Your citrus greening project is a fantastic illustration of how growers, state agencies, federal agencies, and others are collaborating to solve a very important problem, or namely, preventing a terrible disease that's impacting Florida and more generally, the more than $3 billion citrus industry.
Our focus really is on helping people do their work more efficiently and effectively, making sure scientists have data that are standardized and interoperable, that really leverage some of the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning and some of those new tools that the scientists have at their disposal.
If you want to learn more about our work, visit tellus.ars.usda.gov.
Hey, how about this for a huge honor? Our beloved Ranger Nick, given the USDA Excellence in College and University Teaching Award for Food and Agricultural Science, one of only 2 recipients to receive the national award. In response, Furman said that his hope is for students to see the difference between just presenting and really teaching, adding, quote, "I want them to walk out of my classroom not only equipped with new teaching practices, but also with increased confidence, speaking skills, and the desire to impact their communities," end quote. Way to go, buddy. We are proud of you. Well, finally this week, after a long, successful career in Parks and Recreation, followed by 1 term as mayor of Villa Rica, Jeff Reese traded in his keys to the city and replaced them with keys to an RV. Yes, Jeff and his lovely wife, Teresa, had it all planned out. They were going to travel the country, enjoy retirement. However, during one of those early getaways, a crazy thing happened. And now Jeff and Teresa are not only opening the doors to that RV, they're also opening their doors to the public as a member of the Georgia Farm Bureau Certified Farm Market Program. Not to brag or boast, but this here is yet another example of how the GFB Certified Farm Market Program is impacting agritourism in Georgia. For Jeff and Teresa Reese, what did it for them was the many farm stops they made in the RV. And like that RV, Jeff's wheels are always turning.
I said, you know, this is great. And coming from my marketing background, in recreation, I'm like, wow, this was a great idea somebody had to put all this together to promote agritourism. And so that sort of got me thinking, and we were kind of toying with an idea of having a farm out here in Temple. And we have the place, we have everything's here. And so I started talking to Teresa, and again, another conversation ensued. Come to find out, her family, her great-grandfather bought this in 1921.
I look around the farm and I see just fond memories of being in the strawberry field or picking beans. I can remember in front of the old oak tree, my grandparents said, give us a little dish towel and a quart jar. And when it was time to do the beans, shell those beans, if you fill the quart jar, you get a quarter. Well, you know what? Back then, a quarter would buy a lot of stuff. So, you know, I just want my children and their children and the next generations on to just truly to learn to appreciate what we have here.
And what the Reeses have is a golden opportunity, a chance to make a difference. Educate people about the food they eat and where it comes from. People like Jeff, who admits there was a time when he himself took for granted where vegetables came from. This despite having an aunt who owned a huge farm in Cumming, Georgia. Couple that with his appreciation for history, and you understand why Jeff is determined to make Fairview Market at Holloman Farms a success.
It just occurred to both of us that there was a part of our culture as Americans that was missing for future generations. And so we really started this as a way to give back what we had come up with, because she was raised on a farm. This was a working farm, like I said, since 1921. She remembers her grandfather raising hogs here and chickens and, you know, fields of corn, and just, you know, for as far as the eye could see, you would see different fields. And the Hollomans still own this property. So it makes it very important to me from a history standpoint to keep that tradition going.
It's hard work. It is hard work, and I have such a greater respect to my grandparents, not even realizing as a child what they were really doing. It's a multifaceted thing. I mean, they worked a 9-to-5 job, they ran this farm, but yet they fed the family and the community, and they loved every moment of it. So, you know, it's work, it's really work. But it's like I told Jeff, one thing's for certain, we don't have to buy into a local gym or anything like that, because I have found that there are muscles in my body that are just aching at the end of the day because they haven't been used, from even in the classroom and everything.
The classroom Teresa's referring to? The one she occupied during her 20 years as a teacher. Kindergarten mostly. And you know what they say, once a teacher, always a teacher.
I've got a gamut of stuff, boxes of stuff in the carriage house from my classroom, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I would love to bring a lot of stuff out and, you know, build some things and let the kids have an opportunity to experience getting their hands in some dirt and planting some seeds and letting them carry it home with them and watching that process.
She can make you understand that there's a bigger plan here, that it's not just about a can of corn, that it's about growing that corn. It's about being a part of nature. It's about understanding that bees have a purpose in life, that butterflies, that bumblebees, that everything in God's creation has a purpose, and everything works together. And she is that person. So I am so excited. I can't wait to get started on our little outdoor classroom.
They are some good people, aren't they? But hey, so are you. And as always, cannot thank you enough for spending the last half hour with us. For Kenny Burgamy and the rest of the gang, I'm Ray DeLessio saying take care, be safe, and we'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week, everybody.